products in this industry are used to enable consumers to communicate, to share information, to do business remotely. They've allowed consumers new ways to interact, new methods for conducting business transactions. We know from an energy usage standpoint that our products use energy, and one of the first studies we did actually earlier this year was focused on the primary energy use of consumer electronics. How much power does it take to run your PC, your set-top box, your television? Once we completed that study, though, we wanted to look at the secondary impacts of using consumer electronics or electronic products in that they can be used in ways that have an impact on energy consumption, but also greenhouse gas emissions. And that was the focus of the study and what I'm highlighting today. The study was really commissioned to provide a better understanding, since we found some information out there, but really mostly limited information about these secondary impacts on greenhouse gas emissions and energy savings potential from the use of electronics in different behaviors, such as telecommuting and e-commerce. I see some of you have the handout we provided today, so I just want to highlight a couple of key findings. Of course, I mentioned one of the areas of our focus in this study was telecommuting, when workers spend 1 or more days per week working from home. The other area of focus in our study was e-commerce, which of course is the purchases of goods and services via the internet. And we looked at that. We looked at 3 different aspects of e-commerce: tangible goods, electronic goods, and e-materialization, which was spoken about just a moment ago. But essentially, the purchases of physical goods, the purchase of information-based goods, and the replacement of physical goods with information-based goods, which is e-materialization. The study, of course, references energy in terms of joules, and that's a unit not as easily understood, I think, by most people. So we made a point in the study of translating the findings into more accessible and tangible measurements in terms of cars taken off the road, kilowatt hours saved, and that sort of thing. So I'll highlight the findings in that sense. But overall, the use of information technology, equipment, and the internet does provide opportunities to reduce energy consumption and greenhouse gases. As I mentioned, we wanted to convert the findings into average household energy use and vehicles taken off the road. And what we found in the area of telecommuting in particular, based on savings associated with an estimate of about 3.9 million telecommuters, was that by telecommuting we would save as much as 14 billion kilowatt hours of electricity, or really the equivalent of 1.2 million household use of electricity per year. That is also the equivalent of taking as many as 2.1 million vehicles off the road. So significant positive impact on the environment by teleworking was one of the major findings in the study. The second we found in the e-commerce space. The potential savings involved if half of the 1.25 billion video or DVD rentals occurred by video on demand, as electronically. There would be as much as 2.4 billion kilowatt hours of energy saved, or electricity saved per year, or the equivalent of taking about 400,000 vehicles off the road. That is also the equivalent of 200,000 homes' annual energy use. So these 2 findings in terms of teleworking and e-commerce, video on demand, the transmission of electronic goods to the homes, are where we found the greatest and best story in terms of the positive impact that the use of technology products and technology infrastructure can have on the environment in terms of energy saved and emissions reduced. To take it down to an individual level, by the way, I just want to highlight one key point in the release that some of you saw earlier. Just 1 day of telecommuting saves the equivalent of up to 12 hours of an average household's electricity use, or 1.4 gallons of gasoline, or reducing CO2 emissions by 17 to 23 kilograms per day. So you take it down to the individual level, and you really show the power of an individual based on his or her behavior to have a positive impact on the environment through teleworking using technology.